Ayo, we noticed that only about 11% of you are actually subscribed to the channel, so go ahead and do me a favor right now and hit that subscription button. Also, it's important to note, once we hit 10,000 subscribers, we will be doing a massive giveaway here on our YouTube channel, so you'll definitely want to make sure you have notifications on for that. Don't delay, hit that subscription today. You heard?
What's going on, everybody? LK here, and today I'm here with my good teammate ApologyMan, and we're going to talk to some of the last changes we would like to see, hope to see, right before Guilty Gear Stripe officially drops in about, at this point, like 1 week. So the first one that I would really like, and I think this is one that people, like the mechanic itself is controversial, but I think that people would complain about it a lot less if this was in the game. But at the same time, I know why. I have a feeling I know why they don't do this. I would really like for them to show how much HP the wall has. So, the kind of counterintuitive part of how the wall works, as we know right now, is that you can be near the wall and do damage to it as well. It's not just when your opponent is like in the corner getting hit, but also when you're hitting them near it. So, it takes a little while to kind of get used to that. And I feel like if you could see the wall's HP, then this thing would not be such a big issue for people, and it would be a lot easier for people to plan like when they actually want to break the wall to get that buff. In other Guilty Gear games, they've hidden information in match before, so I think it's one of those things. But this is a case where I think everyone would be happier if we could see it.
Yeah, I kind of agree because I understand why they probably hid stuff like that, because they've definitely been going this minimalistic route of hiding a lot of info or not making it take up too much of the screen, with like the wrist gauge and like the burst gauge being really tiny. I imagine if they added like another bar like that, that would just be like, oh no, we're overloading the players. But yeah, I feel like not having that stuff just confuses them even more. But yeah.
I actually wasn't even thinking about it from the UI perspective. Like, they're legit, like some characters, like Johnny's a really easy example in like Exerd or XX, where the game doesn't show you what. So he's like a level up character, so he can level up using his coins to level 3, but the game only shows you what level he's in when he's in the stance. So he's moving around the screen in general. You don't really know unless you are like really carefully paying attention, like remembering when was the last time he hit you with coins and stuff. Besides that, you don't know. So I actually thought it was more of like that thing where it's like they're encouraging like some type of like you need to be aware or something, but like you don't even know like the first time you play that when you hit them near the wall is health in the first place. So I always thought that was kind of weird personally.
No, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think my first change, it's a system change. The biggest change I want is, while I do think the netcode is amazing and all that, the Guilty Gear rollback has been amazing, and I've been able to play people from like all over the world. But the biggest thing I want changed is the ability to change frame delay. In other in other fighting games that have rollback, it seems like a pretty common feature. Skullgirls, Accent Core Plus R that got rollback recently has this feature as well. Even Melee Slippy has it. You can set the frame delay on the rollback frames, so depending on where you live or like how far you are, you don't want to see that much teleporting. You can basically put it up to the player to sacrifice how much visual fidelity they want versus delay. I like it when you kind of put that decision up to the players. But I can also understand from the developer's standpoint where if they put that decision up to the players, they could make the game look way uglier and like it'll look all teleporty and stuff, and then people will complain because they don't understand it. I get that fear, but I want the option to at least still be there, even if it's like not a default option, like it's like hidden behind some menu. But that is like the biggest thing I want, especially if the PC version of Strive comes out and it's a lower latency than the PlayStation version, which is like basically like every fighting game ever. That way I could set the delay to be 1 and it'd be like offline. It'd be amazing. But yeah, that's the big thing I want.
Mm-mm-mm. My second thing is some stuff about the tower specifically. I mentioned this in my survey as well, the feedback survey. Um, where I think this is pretty consistent throughout the beta, where I would like the set, I would like to just run the set. You know what I mean? Like, there were many cases where like I would play like one game, let's say, against somebody and beat them and they would go down, or I would play one game against somebody, beat them and go up immediately without finishing the set. It really makes the pace of playing online like really funky, especially compared to the park, where like once you match up with someone in the park, you just go, like you just go. You can play as long as you want, just nonstop, nonstop, nonstop. I think like if you're on a floor basically under the, if you're not like VIP and Celestial, it feels like the pace of playing the tower is really odd. And even if you're gonna move people up and down, especially move them down, because I think there's a point where like I might be remembering this wrong, but you can't go down on floors, right? So you can't go down on floors once you get to a certain floor, right? I think that's what it is. So when it comes to that, I just feel like it just makes the pace of playing essentially, because it's essentially ranked. It makes the pace of ranked like really funky, which I don't like that much.
Yeah, for sure. So my next change that I want is pretty minor, but also pretty major, and I'm a bit surprised that it's not in the game right now. It's adding frame advantage display in training mode. I kind of just played it off as something they were going to add later. Like they just didn't, that the frame data was going to change frequently, and they didn't want people to overfixate on it in the betas. But you never know. You know, the rematch thing they added later because people were very vocal about it. The biggest thing I definitely want is the ability to show frame advantage when a normal is blocked, a normal is hit, similar to like a lot of other fighting games. Like a lot of other fighting games have this. Like Dragon Ball Fighters has a really good frame advantage display, for example. Yeah, I definitely want something like that. Not something like Grand Blue where it just shows like a weird, funny color, and you just kind of have to like guesstimate, and then sometimes that color is like kind of off anyway.
No,
So,
I'm not gonna lie. Like the Grand Blue system actually was not that bad. For as someone who played the game like pretty hard body, like the Grand Blue system was pretty clear about like what frame data meant. I think it was like a weird way of doing it, but that game doesn't have like a large variety of frame data. You know, like it's not like a huge spread. So like if you're red, like, it's basically like punishable. If you're, or like extremely minus. If you're yellow, it's like close to even. So it's either minus, I want to say like -2 to like 0, and or maybe +1. And if you're blue, you're like super plus, like ridiculously plus, like, minimum +2 if I recall. So like the spread of frame data wasn't that much. I'm actually the same. Like I want frame data. I'm the same as you, but I actually remember what training mode in Dragon Ball was like when the game dropped, and I want to say Strive is way, way, way further than that. So probably down the line, I think, and a lot of people are asking for it too. So I think down the line we're gonna get it. Dragon Ball, it took, I want to say, like a year for them to add that.
yeah, it
But
took a while.
Once we got it, it was a really, really good addition. The way they did it, I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I just don't want any ambiguity. Like I just want to hit the button, know the number, just real quick. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Actually, I said this. I said this a couple times. I actually am kind of cool with them not having frame data on release. I'm a little cool with it.
Whoa.
I like the mystery a little bit. To me, if they didn't add it for like 3 months, let's say, right? To me, in my head, I'm like, how much do you really want to know the number, bro? How badly do you want to know the info?
Yo,
like as long as they add it, eventually, like sooner rather than later, like I'm cool. If they never add it, that's definitely cap, right? But like as long as they add it, like in like a relatively recent, relatively soonish patch, then like I'm cool. I think there's other stuff that I would much prefer in the game so far, like what you said about being able to control the delay or like wall break health, stuff like that.
Okay.
Keep
okay. That's an interesting take.
Yeah.
I definitely would.
Surprising
I don't
for me,
know
right?
being relegated to people that need to use OBS and like use frame
Yeah,
advance to like
how
cut
bad do you
stuff.
want it,
But
bro? Yeah, you don't even need OBS. It's just like how bad do you want it? Like sometimes there's this discussion. It's interesting too because we're talking about Guilty Gear, how much like how controversial the game is sometimes, and sometimes there like there's no soft way of me to like put this. Like sometimes there are people who kind of Guilty Gear is like how do I put this? Honestly, sometimes there are people who play GG who are just like swinging on shit and then they just say shit about the game. So like for the new game, because even if you don't like research the old game but you played it for a long time, eventually you'll learn everything, right? So like in new games, like how bad do you want it, bro? If they're gonna give us a patch with frame data in like September or October, how bad do you want to know for real? Do you want to just mash and call it the game bad, or are you willing to like do a little bit deeper digging to like solve stuff, or do you want to just wait for people like me to solve it for you, or do you really want to know? That's interesting. To me, like especially specifically for Guilty Gear, I'm curious. I don't mind waiting a little bit. Bench.
interesting. I would not
Yeah.
expect to take like that from you.
Yeah, I know it's a surprising take for my type, but like
Yeah.
like I said, I can wait a little bit. Call me Capstar if you want.
Interesting.
um, the last thing I would like is a game thing actually, and just a pinch more character, just a little bit. It's a really small thing that I think everything can benefit from. I don't really like the trend too much of modern games being bounced around like negative frames so much, but it's something I kind of accepted. But I would like if every character at least had like a safe normal they could exit pressure with. So like Dragon Ball is a great example. Like even if your character doesn't have like minus like safe normals after their jabs, for example, they probably have a safe special move they can end their strings with, right? Not necessarily plus, not necessarily they can keep taking their turn, but like if they choose to just be safe, they can end and be -5. That's a general super safe Dragon Ball number, and like they can't be punished. In GG, I think Soul was probably like the biggest standout of this because they made his sweep safer than traditionally in Guilty Gear he has an unsafe sweep, but in Strive he has a safe sweep. So like they could literally nerf his sweep and he'd still be good because he has other safe cancel options to my memory. But like some characters definitely are kind of struggling in this regard, and this would be a really easy way to make a bunch of people feel way better about their characters if they just had like some consistent way to just be totally safe minus, but at least be able to like interact after that minus frame. So like sometimes they can take their turn, sometimes they could choose to be safe, sometimes they could choose to run away. I think that would make a lot of people happy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I kind of wanted that for Tornado with Faust.
Mm.
I was like, oh, if I go into like my regular block string, if I go all the way through and I special canceled into it, even if I directionally influence it as well as possible, not to be punishable, I'm still negative, right? So I have something I wanted was like, oh man, let me DI it too far, like farther back, so I can get out of range. But that is other cheapness that is involved with that. But yeah, I definitely agree with you. Uh, being so committed to the block string and then just being like, oh, I made him block this thing. Okay, I got to go into my next negative thing. Okay, next negative thing, and then okay, it's over. Like I'm either punishable or it's your turn for sure. So yeah, I definitely want more of that, just to return to neutral, which they seem like they kind of want for like there's a few interactions in this game that seem to kind of lean towards that. But yeah, the last change that I want, it's just like it's just like a personal gripe that I have. It's just I don't get why it's like this. When you stand there, it puts you in danger now, as opposed to like taking any backwards movement.
No, I think it's camera based. I don't think it's just
Is it
straight up.
camera based?
Yeah, because I never got it when I was just standing. But if you have like one character jumping, sometimes that character gets it, sometimes the other character gets it. I'm like, and I think they've done this in I want to say an earlier Blaze Blue. It worked similarly. I'm not a big fan of it either, but like I think it's less in the previous beta. In the previous beta, oh my god.
Yeah.
I was getting negative for at least danger, not negative, but at least danger for like
danger.
no
Yeah,
reason.
yeah.
Yeah, for like totally no reason. It felt like compared to this beta. This beta, I felt like I didn't get danger.
I think they
anywhere near
tweaked
as
it
much.
a bit. I think they
Yeah.
tweaked it a bit. They could tweak it a bit more, but yeah, I remember the biggest way everyone would notice is you're just sitting there in training mode, right? You're talking in your stream or whatever, and they're like, "Danger," and you're like, "What? I didn't do anything.
Didn't do
I was
anything.
just standing there."
That's probably why, right? They're like, do something.
Yeah, I'm just like, "Oh, okay." Dude, there was this one funny moment when I was playing versus like a Zato player. All I was doing was just like walking, and like I was just blocking. I was literally just holding down back, and I was trying to avoid Eddie, like the shadow on the floor, and I didn't actually block that much. I was kind of just like waiting to see, and most of the shadow stuff whiffed. Right, I'm like, all right, cool. I guess it's time to approach. And then the second I jump forward, danger. I'm like, what?
I jumped forward.
I did backdash. I did walk back. I did air dash back. Why do I have danger? I don't know. I think it could be tweaked a little bit because it definitely doesn't feel how it did in past anime games. How it gave you negative penalty. I think it can be tweaked a little bit.
Okay, so that's how we're feeling right now. The game's coming out pretty soon, but it would be nice if they did, honestly, even one of these things that we talked about today. Let us know how you guys think. As usual, definitely feel free to leave any questions or comments in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you guys feel like it, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace out.